Carve, João Pedro, Chelsea, what can you tell us?
Yeah, Chelsea have agreed a deal to sign João Pedro from Brighton. The fee is more than £50 million and the player will sign a 7-year contract. There is a club-to-club agreement. There's also an agreement on personal terms between Chelsea and the player. I think there are good relations between Chelsea and Brighton. Of course, Chelsea have signed quite a few players from Brighton in the past. And this is the big news. João Pedro will join Chelsea here in the US to play in the Club World Cup. Of course, as long as there are no problems with his medical and no problems are anticipated. At the moment, there is a mid-tournament registration window open in the Club World Cup here. That window is open until Thursday. So as long as João Pedro signs the paperwork, completes his medical, flies out to the US, and he's registered by Chelsea with FIFA, he will be able to play in this tournament. And of course, Chelsea's next game is on Friday, the quarterfinals in Philadelphia. They're playing Palmeiras, so potentially João Pedro, I'm not sure how fit he is. Probably he's not going to be match fit enough to play in that game, but he'll certainly be joining the Chelsea squad. The reason Chelsea have gone for him is they believe he's a versatile forward who can play as a number 9. Of course, they've signed Liam Delap as a number 9 as well. I'm being told that he'll add to their squad depth alongside Liam Delap and Nicholas Jackson as well. Of course, Chelsea have got Christopher Nkunku up front, who scored last night for them. Question marks about whether he may leave this summer. Question marks as well about whether Jackson may leave this summer as well. But Chelsea have been so busy in the transfer window this summer. They signed Liam Delap. We told you that yesterday they agreed a deal with Borussia Dortmund for Jamie Gittins, and today they've agreed a deal with Brighton for João Pedro. One thing to tell you though is Jamie Gittins won't be able to play for Chelsea in this Club World Cup, even though this mid-tournament registration period is open. He has played already in this tournament for Borussia Dortmund. You can't play for 2 clubs in this Club World Cup.
OK, Carve Solokol with that breaking news live from Orlando. Thank you very much indeed. And so, yeah, it sounds like it's all going to happen very quickly for him, Mark, for João Pedro. If all goes to plan, he could be playing in a few days at this Club World Cup. And, of course, if Chelsea were to go on and win it and he contributes, that more than covers the cost of £50+ million for him. Yeah,
like Carve said, it'd be interesting to see how fit João Pedro is. Generally, footballers these days take a couple of weeks off after the end of the season, but then they start doing work anyway. So they never really lose their fitness and they never really lose being in touch with how fit you need to be as a top-level athlete. So I'd imagine he'd be pretty much good to go. Certainly you could see a few cameos off the bench, maybe not starting games, but essentially once again you look at this and you think that could potentially be a really good piece of business for Chelsea. They're getting a Brazil international for £50+ million. Brighton will look at it and say, actually we've done really well once again with our sales technique because we bought a player in for around £30 million with some add-ons. We've sold him for sort of 50 to 60 million, so therefore we've virtually doubled our money. Watford fans will be interested as well because they're due a sell-on from the profits as well, so you'd imagine Watford are probably going to bank around £4 or £5 million as well, which would come in handy for their recruitment drive over the course of this summer. So on the surface it looks like everyone is getting exactly what they want, so you can't see really any losers in this transfer setup. I think the interesting thing now, where does he fit in? And we spoke about it earlier at Chelsea. How does he play alongside someone like Cole Palmer, who likes to operate in a similar area? And of course, how do Brighton replace him? And what do they do in the transfer market? Because he's a big loss, big figure, a big personality, someone hugely passionate, maybe a little bit too passionate at times on the training pitch. But absolutely, I'm intrigued as to how this one moves, because he's a player that on his day could be incredibly lethal.
And if they're spending that much money on him, over £50 million to bring another forward into the squad, you were looking at the options before, weren't you, James? But now this has moved on a bit. I mean, does it almost feel inevitable that an Nkunku or a Jackson are going to have to leave the club?
I think those are the 2 players that are most under threat. I think Christopher Nkunku is probably looking for a departure. I don't think he was happy with the minutes he received last season. I think there was a huge amount of excitement when he signed for the club, but he suffered that injury early on into his time at Chelsea and hasn't quite recovered that. Hasn't quite got the trust of the manager, and when Cole Palmer is performing at the level he is, Enzo Maresca said it's simply impossible to get the likes of Nkunku and João Felix into that Chelsea side. It's worth bearing in mind it's another deal between Chelsea and Brighton. Marc Cucurella, Moises Caicedo, Robert Sanchez, Graham Potter, all his backroom staff as well. More departures from Brighton to Chelsea. Great business once again from Brighton, but Chelsea will see this as a great business themselves. If the fee is around £60 million, they're signing a player who's not even turned 24 yet. He's got 5 years' experience in English football. He's a proven goal scorer. He creates goals. He scores goals. The question is, where does he fit in with Liam Delap there, Cole Palmer there, especially Jamie Gittins on the left-hand side. You've got Neto, Madueke. There's plenty of options there for Chelsea. They're back in the Champions League now. They'll need all these options, but I think it's a great bit of business. It's a really good deal. I think it's going to be really testing for him not being the main man at Chelsea, because there are so many big-name players there. Fascinating to see him and Cole Palmer in the same 11 if Enzo Maresca can make that work.